It's a good sideline adjustment right there. How's everybody doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Ron, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. I'm sure we'll get around to the takeaways with you, but just the ineffectiveness of the passing game yesterday, and when you look at the yards per attempt, and why was it down at that level, which seems very uncomfortable?
Yeah, it obviously was not. It was below our standard for sure. Just the timing was off a little bit. The timing, the rhythm. We missed a couple things down the field. We actually had a couple free plays early, where we got them to jump off sides. I thought that was progress by Beebe. Young center, knowing when to snap it, when not to. I thought the first one they didn't call. I thought they should have, but Kupp was a little flat with a couple of the deep balls. He underthrew the one to CD. And then, we kind of, got forced to get the ball out of our hands on some shallow crosses, some underneath things to the flats, and they did a good job tackling. It's a good tackling defense, but just really the timing, the rhythm wasn't great. And it wasn't just one thing. I think when you look at it, we missed a couple things. There's a couple tight contested catches that we couldn't come down with, and it needs to get better.
Clarence Hill, All City, Dallas. Can you talk about Cooper's play and why you guys decided to stick with him? And also, how hard is it to put a package in for Trey and still keep Cooper as your starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think, look, everybody has confidence in Kupp. Again, it wasn't our best performance yesterday as an offense, for sure. It wasn't all him. We're all involved in that. But, again, you guys have seen him play even more football than I have. I mean, the guy, he knows who he is, played really well against Atlanta, and we didn't play well yesterday. And in terms of Trey, I mean, he's a guy that's got some unique skill sets that we like. We wanted to kind of mix him in there. Didn't really get to it till later, and it's not that difficult. Again, I think anytime you get a chance to get him the ball in his hands and get him some chance to make plays with his legs, a good thing. It's just the flow of it in the course of a game. When is it third down? Is it after an earned first down? Is it in the red zone? And so, those packages, I think, as we, continue on into the season, will get more and more comfortable for us to fit those in, and where are the spots that they're going to be best used.
Brian Schottenheimer with ESPN joked about that, but how much do you guys have to be mindful at that stadium, the time of day when you're playing of, hey, this is going to be into the sun now? How mindful are you guys of that?
I like that. Is that what that's saying? That's kind of cool how you guys tied that in there right there. We talk about it all the time. I'll be honest, it's the first time that it kind of, came up in terms of, me being a part of it. But look, it was one play, and we're mindful of it. We talk about it. There's certain areas of the field where it definitely gets a little bit difficult, but I think we all know you can't turn the ball over. I mean, we got to get that fixed. We have to take care of the football better because, again, we put the defense in tough positions yesterday. Second drive of the game, we put the ball on the ground, and then they gave us the ball in a short field, and weren't able to punch it in. We have to be better. There's momentum plays, but I thought, first half we hung around. I thought the defense played great, is at least what it looked like, and unfortunately we weren't able to do our part, and that's frustrating. As a competitor, it's frustrating, and the good news is I thought the running game's coming along. I think, give a ton of credit to the guys up front. I thought we moved their interior defensive tackles very well. I thought Rico ran really, really hard. So those are the things when you watch the film, there's always good, there's always bad. And that was something that we feel is coming, which is going to make us better.
John Machota with The Athletic. When things aren't going your guys' way and you guys aren't winning games, what is your message to your guys?
Stay the course. Sometimes you feel like, you look for, the way to motivate them, and I try to be honest with these guys. I try, hey, we can play more consistent than we have been doing. There's been good, but there's been too much bad, and but again, this group will never finger point. This group will never make excuses. They're going to work, and so. Why is that? Because the type of men we have in the locker room, and the belief that we have, and the love we have for one another, and there was some long face in there today, just like we all are. But there is no solution in this league. This is a tough-ass league for tough people. And, being in it for as long as I have, growing up watching it as a kid with my dad, like, if you blink in this business or if you don't like tough days, then you're in the wrong business because, there's so much parity. It's so hard to win one game in this league, and certainly for us, the biggest thing, the glaring thing, is we got to protect the football. And again, I think these guys will work, these guys will respond, and that was kind of the message today.
Saudis at the Athletic. Brian, with the turnovers that you mentioned, Jake's had a fumble, Zeke had a fumble. With the way practices are structured today in the NFL, how do you go about during the week working on something like ball security and fumbles?
Yeah, it's a great question. We actually have a ball security circuit. We do ball security and ball disruption on both sides. But you'll see the coaches out there, there's circuit training. So you'll send 15 guys one spot, 15 guys to another, and they'll be doing tackling going to the ground or ball disruption going to the ground. They use the javelin sticks to try to knock the ball out to simulate, some of the punches. When I first came into the league, people talked about, ball security and ball disruption from the defensive standpoint. But now it seems like everybody has a specialist that does it. I know we did in Seattle. Bones does a great job of it here. But it's something that we educate these guys on each week. We practice it every day. And like in the game yesterday, it was different situations. Zeke's is a football play, meaning the game's going and the safety came out of the middle field. We're in the low red zone, and the guy hit him right on the football, and the ball comes out. Do you want that to happen? No, but it's a football play. The ones that you got to avoid are, Kupp dropping the snap. I mean, you have to avoid those. And so, but I do think we do a good job of educating and drilling. Now we got to carry it over to game day because that's the area that we've not been doing. And again, honestly, to be -10 and to have 3 wins, I mean, -10 is a really bad number. And we know that. And if it doesn't get better, it's going to be hard to win a lot of games moving forward. So it has to.
Going back to the summer, there was a conversation with Austin Richards, guard tackle, for him to go in, play that he did. How pleased were you with his performance?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. Anytime you have a young player, especially a left tackle against a good pass rush team, and you're not, when you're looking at the still photos and the surfaces, you're not feeling issues and problems. It's really a good thing. So talented young player, great versatility, used his length, and I thought he did a nice job yesterday.
CBS Sports, Brian, when an offense, for example, you guys play the Texans, they have dramatic home road splits. What goes into an offense being diametrically different home road and negatively on the road?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the stadium conditions, number one, something you talk about. For us, again, we don't really look at it in terms of home road. I mean, we look at the opponent. We're playing a hell of an opponent this week with a hell of a defense, and the good news is we played San Francisco a couple weeks ago, very similar. D'Amico comes from there. They don't do a whole lot. They're talented. They tackle well. They're physical. They fly around the ball. But it's more of that. It's more of, okay, who are we playing? What's the stadium? Is it indoor? Is it outdoor? Stuff like that. Where are the matchups? I mean, this is a matchup-driven league. And so you try to look at, okay, who do we want to attack or who do we need to neutralize? That's a big part of the discussion. And some of the top defenses have multiple people that you're like, okay, we've got to neutralize him and him too and him. And this is one of those type of defenses where they're very, very talented, and they're going to challenge you with their personnel more than their scheme because they're going to do what they do and they do it well.
With their scheme, Hunter and Anderson up front, what is the challenge of those guys?
Yeah, I think just the way they try to control the line of scrimmage. Again, it's early into the prep, but these guys are penetrators, so they're going to try to knock you back. They try to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. 2 really good edge pieces. The linebackers, who I didn't really know very well, just in my little bit of study, they fly around. One guy's from San Fran. D'Amico brought him with him, and they run well. And it's funny when you watch them. There's so many similarities to what you see from San Francisco. So you see the D'Amico blueprint.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. When Cooper has a day like he had yesterday with the turnovers, and then in the second half when he's coming off the field, the stadium's letting him hear about it.
Sure.
How do you assess his confidence, and how do you kind of instill confidence back in him even throughout a day like that?
Yeah, again, you focus on the small points, the coaching points of footwork and things like that. I think he'll tell you, his footwork and rhythm was off a little bit yesterday, and so again, this is a guy that's played winning football. He knows he can play winning football, but it's those little. It's almost on game day. It's almost like you're a little bit of a golf coach in terms of you're making swing corrections or things like that. You're just trying to make them because you can't overcoach it. If you overcoach it, right, it becomes they're thinking too much and all that stuff. But he's not a guy I worry about. I mean, he really he's been pretty unflappable. Again, it's one of those situations where you look at the film and again, if we punch a ball in there late after the sudden change, what's it look like? You're 14-6 coming out at halftime, and again we struggled in the third quarter, and that's kind of when the game got away from us. But he's a competitor, man. He's a fighter, and you set your jaw and you go to work.
And then overall, you mentioned a couple long phases in the meeting this morning. How do you instill confidence in everybody offensively?
Yeah, again, it's the biggest thing is just talk about our work and what we're capable of doing. We got good players. We believe in all these guys. We believe in what we're trying to get done, and we truly believe if you continue to work, it's going to flip. You got to get a win, and then you get a win, and there's more confidence, and then one win becomes 2 wins. I mean, I got home last night and licking my wounds and turned on the game, and here you watch a team throw 5 interceptions, and they found a way to win. And so, why? Well, they're confident. They believe they're going to do that, and so again, that's what we need to do. We need to play 60 minutes of a good football game and get a W, and then next week do it again, and then next thing you know, you start a little bit of a streak.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You had mentioned the run game earlier. Why do you think it's starting to come along a little bit?
I think we're trying to figure out our identity. Again, we feel really good about the guards, both Zach and Tyler's ability to move internal pieces, defensive lineman. BB's doing a really good job. I think that's part of it. But again, I think everybody's bought into the importance of it. Calvin, I think you watch our receivers block. There's some great clips of CD going in there and battling safeties in the nickel. And, so it's not just one unit. It's not just the O-line and the running backs. It's everybody's bought into how important it is to have that run game, because the run game is going to set up the action passing game. When you don't have the action passing game, then the run game's not as good. If you don't have the run game, the action passing game is not as good. So I think more of it is just the overall, these guys all understand how important it's going to be. But and again, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Rico again. He's running with a lot of confidence. He's running hard. There's a lot of hidden yards when you watch Rico run right now. So he's getting hit at the second level, whatever it is, he's falling forward for 2 and 3 yards. Well, in a game, those 2 and 3 yards add up after a while, and next thing you know, your run numbers are up there and your first downs are up there, and it does make a difference.
It's been tough for Tolbert to kind of get going again after he's been up and down a little bit. It's been a little tough for him to find a rhythm himself.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think any young player is going to go through good weeks and bad weeks, and again, a few weeks ago it seems like a while ago, and it was Pittsburgh, but I don't think so. JT's another one, a guy that again he's got confidence, he's got inner belief, and it goes in waves, and it certainly wasn't just one guy yesterday. It was all of us in terms of our inability to get the passing game going.
Brian, I'm sure Zeke's had 100 red zone carries in his career. It's the first time he's lost a fumble in the red zone.
Wow.
Is that kind of just indicative of the season and the way this thing's gone, that something that's never happened before with Zeke is happening?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's something we don't worry about with Zeke, right? And I didn't know that stat. It's obvious. Again, like I said, it was a football play. He's running through, he's trying to get close to the goal line. The guy puts his hat on the ball, but indicative of this season. I don't get into that. We got this week's crazy. Every week's different, but you truly, once I get in here with you guys, it's like, okay, I'm through that game and I'm on to the next opponent. And our job now is to say, okay, hey, we're playing Houston. What's this plan look like? What are they good at? What are we seeing early on? And again, I know nobody was more sick about it than Zeke. And again, it's important to him, and that success that he's had over his career speaks for itself.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. Back on the Sun thing, you mentioned it's just one play. Obviously, you all game plan for it. It's 2nd and goal at the 3. Mm-hmm. Is it realistic to be factoring in the Sun at that point when you're on the call sheet? Is it realistic for Cooper to be thinking about it once the ball snapped? I mean, how can you even?
Yeah, I don't think the players don't think. That's a great question. The players don't think about it. They have to go play. It's more of us in our conversations on Friday. It affects a number of things. There's locations that we're aware of based on the sun. So it's more for us. But there are times that it's inevitable. that you might call a play, because think about it this way: you don't know where the ball's going to get thrown. Like on that said pass, you don't know whether the ball's going to go to Fergie in the flat, to the corner route, where there's no sun, to the over route. It's just like you can't. You don't know that. It's based on the defense. So the players don't worry about it, but we obviously are aware of it. But there's sometimes you just call your play because you like that play, you feel good about that play, and it sometimes becomes an issue.
Aaron?
Aaron, guys, I don't think we've talked to you since Mingo got here. What were your first impressions of him, and what does he need to do to be able to play?
Yeah, very smart, runs really well. I thought he had a really good week of practice. I think this week, we feel even better about his ability not just to learn one position. We start him off at one position. He's picked it up pretty good. He's here all day, every day, just studying and learning, and knowing some of the guys in Carolina that had him. We kind of knew what we were getting, in terms of the person, the speed, the size. But the most impressive thing with him, I would say, is the ability to pick up the playbook. It's been very impressive. Practice last week wasn't perfect, but again, he made very few mental errors when it came to practice last week, and occasionally he had to ask for help. You ask your buddy to your right or left, hey, what do I got on this play? But that was rare that he had to do that last week. And this week he'll be even more prepared, because some of the language now, some of it's relearning the language, right? What we might call a 4 vertical concept, they call it something different. And what's crazy is, like it might be what we call 4 vert, somebody else calls it a run. So you have to retrain your brain to say, okay, that's not this, it's that. And so that's why it sometimes takes a little bit of time. But I think he's way ahead of schedule from most, receivers that I've been around that have come in and had to try to play early.
Finish up with Saad.
Brian, as a veteran, I'm sure Terence Steele knows that he needs to fall on that ball. Is that a situation where the game is just getting out of hand, where you kind of lose that perspective a little bit and you're trying to maybe do a little too much, or how did you see that go down?
Yeah, no, we actually talked about it in the meeting today. He knew it. I mean, he was, when we were talking about it and showing it, he knew it. He said, my bad, basically. And again, he's a competitor, right? He's trying to make a play, They don't handle the ball that often, so therefore the right situation and the right decision in that situation is to fall on it. But again, he was competing, trying to make a play. But he's played enough football to know that, hey, cover the ball, give us a chance to punt. It's okay to punt. We just got to clean up the turnovers.
Quick follow-up to that, if I may. Just do you have kind of a general rule, Brian, of big guys falling and little guys go ahead and pick it up, or
yeah,
you go by how tight you are?
Yeah, it's spatial. We don't give the big guys a choice very often because they're not on the jugs machine after practice. And when we say ball drills, they usually run down to the Crowther sled and stuff like that. But it's a little bit different for different people. Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, guys.